Welcome, Lee here from Play Guitar Academy with another Why They Work lick video. Today I show you how extending just two little pentatonic patterns, it can take you across the entire fretboard. But before we get started, to get the most out of this lesson, we need to know all the scale patterns that these extensions come from. So take a second, click the link in the description, download my free Big 4 scale pattern worksheet, and you can start changing your guitar playing forever. Okay, let's get started with the licks. Today I'm playing in the key of G minor. I'm using the G minor pentatonic scale. And we're going to start with grouping number 1. Let's take a look at grouping number 1. If you see here, I have pattern 5 on the left, pattern 1 in the middle, and pattern 2 on the right. The one in the middle, this is where our grouping is surrounding. We have the regular old pattern 1 G minor pentatonic scale. Now, if you take a look at what I'm going to do with this, boom, I carved off half of pattern 5 and half of pattern 2. What was left? These little boxes that are below pattern 1 on the low strings and above pattern 1 on the high strings. This is considered the lower extension and the upper extension of pattern 1. This is just one of the two groupings that we're going to do today. But you may have played around with this a little bit. I'm going to make it make a little bit of sense here. If you take a look, all we're really adding is one extra note on the bottom and one extra note at the top. All these other notes are contained within pattern 1. But these areas here create some different kind of licks. The way the notes are structured together allows you to do some things that you can't do just in pattern 1. So it's not even just the one extra note that you're using. We're getting some new sounds and new licks that we couldn't get just from staying in pattern 1. So we're going to start down here at the bottom, down in pattern 5. We're going to put our first finger on the first fret of the low E string and play 1, 3. That's F and G. That's the flat 7 and the root note of what we're playing over. So F and G. Now we're going to go up the scale. We're on the A string now, first fret. There's our B flat. That's the minor third. And then we're going to go to the C note. This is the 4th degree of the scale at the 3rd fret on the A string. This is where we're going to slide back into pattern 1. So we're going to slide up to the D note and then continue on in pattern 1 as if we had been going at it all the time. We're going to go up to the flat 7th and then the root. And then the minor third, and then the 4th. But look what happens here. At this point, instead of continuing up the G minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, we're going to, instead of using our 3rd finger, I'm going to switch to my 2nd finger and slide up to the 5th. From the 5th fret on the G to the 7th fret of the G, this puts us up into pattern 2 territory. And as I continue on up the scale from pattern 2, we're going from the D note, which is the 7th fret of the G string, to the F on the B string, 6th fret, that's our flat 7, to the root note, to the G on the 8th fret. And then we're going to continue on up 8, 6, 8, 6, 8. That's root, minor third, 4th, minor third, root. Now, if you notice, as we go through this, I'm making a big deal about the G notes. Every time we hit a G, we come across a G, I make it do something with it. This time I'm giving it extra time. Instead of being an 8th note, I make it a quarter note so it stands out. And then I'll continue. As soon as I hit this G, I let it ring a little bit more. Now I'm going to continue to go up. Ran out of notes. I'm going to come back and I hit the G again and make a big deal out of it. This is really important for phrasing and ear training. Make sure you always know what the solid sound is, the sound that you can always come back to in the key of G. That would be the G. Let's take a look at our example lick for this. We're going to start, it starts on the and a 2, doesn't start right at the beginning of the measure, and we have some 16th notes in here. So we're going to be going pretty fast, but it's easy notes. We're going to play 1, 3 on the low string, that's our F to G, 1, 3 on the A string, that's our B flat to C, and go back to the B flat. See if you can play that with me. Then we're going to go back and forth between the 1 and the 3 and the 1 on the A string. Bum, bum. So all together, 1, 2, 2. It's a neat little rhythm. It's a neat way to get started. And now we're going to go from our lower extension and slide into pattern 1. We're going to slide up to the 5th fret with our 3rd finger on the A string. That's going to put us in pattern 1. And we're going to continue up the scale pattern until we hit a G. So that's 5 on A, 3 on D, 5 on D. There's our G note. And then on the last beat of the measure on B4, we're going to have a little bendy thing here at the 3rd fret. We're going to bar the 3rd fret on the D and G strings and just give them a little tiny quarter step. I don't even know if it makes it to a quarter step. That's the lowest I could get, but it gives a, I don't know, it just sounds kind of cool. It gives it a little tension there. Now we're going to take the same idea as before. We're going to take the 16th notes all in a row. So instead of going from the lower extension to pattern 1, we're going to go from pattern 1 to the upper extension here. So we're going to start with the 3rd fret on the D string to the 5th fret. That's F to G. Then we're going to start with the 3rd fret on the G string and then go to the 5th fret. And then come back to the minor 3rd, come back to the B flat. So it's F, G, B flat, C, B flat. Almost exact, actually it is exactly the same things we did before, just an octave up. But at this point, we're going to go straight into our upper extension. We're going to slide with our 2nd finger up to the 7th fret of the G string. And then we're going to go from 7 fret on G, which is our D, 5th, to the F, which is our flat 7th. That's the 6th fret on the B string. And then all the way up here at the 8th fret on the high E string, we're going to bend that a full step. And then work our way back down the G minor pentatonic scale until we get to the 8th fret on the B string. So that's our first grouping. It's pattern 1 in the middle, a lower extension from pattern 5, and an upper extension from pattern 2. Now, do I think it's just because this is so easy and we can get that high note and the low note, is this all we should do? No, I really feel you should learn all of pattern 5 and all of pattern 2. There are some really cool licks that you can only get in those patterns that you're not able to get using this system. But what this system does is it's going to get us around. And now you're going to see we've gone from the 1st fret in G to the 8th fret. Now you're going to see how we're going to get from the 8th fret all the way up to where we hit G, an octave up that, up to the 15th fret here, just using one of the other extensions. Let's take a look. So our other grouping down here is pattern 4 in the middle. Notice here we have pattern 4. That's where our 1st finger is on the 10th fret of the A string. And it's kind of a C-shaped pattern right there. We have pattern 3 on the left, pattern 5 on the right, a lower and an upper. We're going to do the same thing. Take a look at this. Bam! Chopped off half of pattern 3 and most of pattern 5. And what that does is it gives us a lower extension of 3 strings, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, to slide into our D string of pattern 4. And then when we get to the B string, we can slide up another 2 frets and get the top 2 strings of pattern 5, which is a box as well, 1, 3, 1, 3. So 2 boxes, one on the top, one on the bottom. These are our pattern 4 extensions. And let's take a look here. So our pattern 4 extensions start on the low string, 8th fret. That's our C, to 10, which is D. And then to the 8th fret on the A string, which is F, and then the 10th fret. So 8, 10, 8, 10, that's C, D, F, G. So back to our root G, and I let it ring. I make a big deal about it. Now I'm going to go up again, continue going up. So 10th fret the G. Now our B flat is the 8th fret on the D string. Then we have our C at the 10th fret of the D string. This is the last note that we're going to play in this lower extension. It crosses 3 strings. We're going to slide up into pattern 4. Now we're at the 12th fret, which is a D, and then the 10th fret, which is an F. That's our flat 7th, to our root, which is the G note, the 12th fret on the G string. So paused at the G, and then continued on till I hit a G and let it ring. Now I'm going to continue up and then slide into our pattern 5, the upper extension of pattern 4. So we're going to start the same note, 12th fret on the G string. We're going to go 1st finger on the 11th fret of the B. Then we'll put our 3rd finger on the 13th fret of the B. This is where we make our slide. 13 goes up to 15. So that's C goes to D. We're at the 5th of G. Then we're going to go up to the F and up to the G. That's 13th fret on the high E string and the 15th fret at the high E string. So now using these extensions with our scale pattern, I can come up with a lick like this. So I'm going to start at our highest note. This is the upper extension for pattern 4. That's the highest note in pattern 5. That's the 15th fret. That's a G. Now I'm going to go to a D note right next to it on the B string. Then I'm going to go up back to the high E string to the 13th fret. That's our F. And then to the 13th fret on the B string. So 15, 15, 13, 13. The first one is longer though. That's the rhythm. And at that point, we slide ourselves back into pattern 4. That 13 slides back to the 11th fret. That's a C going to a B flat. The 4th going to the minor 3rd. And then we're going to play the root, the G at the 12th fret. And we have a little extra note here to fill up some of this measure. It's a little 11th fret on the B string. That's a little minor 3rd. And you can bend it a little bit if you want to add a little tension. And as we continue this lick, now we're going to start at the 10th fret on our G string because we're in the pattern already. And then pattern 4 is going to go down 10, 12, 10. At this point on the D string, this is where we're going to slide back into our lower extension for pattern 4. And we're going to, instead of going straight to the root note, which is where it sounds like it's going, I'm going to set it up instead of that. We have these 3 strings all in a row. They're all 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Let's use them. So I'm going to go down to my low 10th fret. That's the D. I'm going to go to the F, to the B flat, and then back to the root. So I'm surrounding the root. I'm going lower, creeping up to it, going overshooting it, and then come back. Pretty cool sound. Thanks for playing along today. If you need the tabs, the charts, and the backing tracks for this or for any of my videos, I encourage you to become a member over at Play Guitar Academy. Also, don't forget to download my Big 4 scale pattern worksheet. It's going to make all this easier for you. And as always, let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great practice. I'll see you in the next lick video.